Wireframes are an important visualization tool for web developers and designers and application developers and designers, giving you a chance to present proposed functions and structure and content of a web page without being concerned about the graphical treatments. The idea behind a wireframe is that it can be quickly created and just as quickly disposed of when it's no longer needed. Now, a typical wireframe includes a variety of different things, but here in our wireframe_finished file, we can see a lot of these. We've got key page elements and their location, such as a header up top, a content area down in the middle here, and down below a footer area. Got groupings of elements, such as our navigation bar within the header, and down below, similar thing here with our navigation in the footer. And we've also got some labeling being applied to different areas. So there's a heading inside of our content area. Nothing fancy, nothing pretty. Again, we're not worried about that element. We're just worried about using it as a wayfinding device and a descriptive element for the page. And then in a few areas, I've got placeholders that would represent other real content. So for example, here I've got a box with an X through it to represent a photograph. Up top, I've got a little two-dimensional illustration of a shopping cart to illustrate that that would be a clickable area to go to the e-commerce section of the site, and so on. Now, using Fireworks makes wireframing a snap. There are many pre-built symbols which can be dropped in, and you can also create your own custom symbols which you can repurpose over and over again in other projects. Now, the currently open file gives us a good sense of what a completed wireframe may look like. There's a variety of pages here, all representing major content areas within the site. We've utilized existing symbols that are part of Fireworks, as well as custom symbols that I've created myself, and also some third-party symbols or extensions that have really made the whole wireframing process a lot easier. I make use of two special auto shapes for my wireframes, both created by third-party developers. The first one you'll see right on the About page. It's this set of bars to represent text, and this is a auto shape created by John Dunning, and it's called Greek text, and you can find it at johndunning.com/fireworks/about/Greek text, and gives you a quick and easy way to drop in a representation for text without having to worry about putting in lorem ipsum text or copying and pasting text from somewhere else. It just gives you the representation without the extra detail that you don't really need in a wireframe. Now, by the time I took this design to a storyboard, where things are much more realistic, I'd probably incorporate either existing copy from the client or lorem ipsum text if I didn't have the copy from the client, just to make it look a little more realistic. Another auto shape I use quite a bit with my wireframes is found right here on the products page, and this is the grid auto shape created by Aaron Beal, and you can find this at fireworks.abeall.com/extensions/autoshapes. And I find this particular auto shape almost indispensable because it does something that Fireworks just doesn't do on its own. It creates table mockups. Now, the only way to do this inside of Fireworks is to literally draw each rectangle and color them and then group them together and place them where you want. The grid auto shape takes all that extra futzing about out of the equation, and you basically just drop on a grid shape and drag out how many columns and how many rows and pick the color you want, and off you go. So it really makes creating tabular kinds of layouts really, really helpful. And in a lot of sites, you're going to run into these kinds of things, especially here where we're looking at some e-commerce types of options. So here we've got another example of that grid shape being used, and you can see it's not just a bunch of rows, but it's a bunch of rows and columns. Just a really fast and easy way to put together this kind of look. Now, the other thing behind wireframes is they've got to be somewhat interactive, so clients can move from page to page if you have a multi-page document like we do, and again, sort of get a sense of what happens when they click on a certain button or click in a certain area. So at the very top here, inside of the header area, you'll see a bunch of shapes that have little green boxes over them. The green boxes are hotspots. But if I switch over to the master page, click on each one of these different boxes, these hotspots, you'll see that I get a link in the property inspector that links to a specific page in the design. So I'm adding in my interactivity with inside of the wireframe. Now, if I scroll down to the bottom of the Pages panel, you'll see a page called Login. And what I've done here is I've essentially mapped out another page so that the user can see what the intended interaction they have inside of the site will produce. So if I click on the shopping cart icon, for example, in my main navigation, the first thing that will come up will be the login page, and then they can move on to the actual shopping cart area. So we're mapping out all the possible different interactions that could occur. So now that we've had a chance to look at this finished version of the wireframe, get ready because we're actually going to start building this beginning in the next movie.
A membership to lynda.com unlocks this entire course and hundreds of others. Visit lynda.com to learn more.